I can force it this way. Not ideal. It's not giving the owl even as an option. So I'm just turning it this way so the camera is out here and it'll pick it up. It's not even showing that we can use the owls. It's only showing the web camera through YouTube. So we will make it work, I guess. No, it's not even showing the owl option. I'm just hoping. We will record if nothing else. That's why we got this. All right.
All right. Well, city common council meeting order at 7:01. Please take the roll.
Alderperson DeBaker.
Here.
Alderperson Smith.
Here.
Alderperson Schmidt.
Here.
Alderperson Liebenow. Alderperson Newman.
Here.
Alderperson Olson. Here. We have quorum.
All right, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Any citizen comments tonight? Please go to the podium and state your name. Anybody? Name and address, please.
Shanna Sanchez, I'm at 437 Dayton Street.
Shanna
My main
Sanchez.
concern is the drainage. What's going on with that? Heard a couple of things, so.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Concerns with the drainage on
All right.
the St. John's project.
Item 4, public hearing. Public hearing regarding the proposed upgrade to the wastewater treatment plant and 200 Kikoski Street. I think that address isn't right.
I believe it's 400.
All right, is there any public comments about the public hearing? Anybody? All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Smith,
I'll second it.
second by DeBaker. Any discussion? All in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion closed. Item 5, I'd like to move item 5 down to 14 AC, just before we talk about the sewer plant itself. I think that would be the best time to do the presentation, so we it's fresh in our mind. So is there a motion to move item 5 down to 14 AC?
So move.
Motion by Schmidt. Second by Liebenow. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Agenda changes, any agenda changes?
It's showing that we're supposed to be giving approval of minutes back in the day when Ken and I were let go. And the only original one here from that time is Mike Schmidt. So I just wanted to address that from those times, we cannot do that.
You can't do what?
We can't approve the minutes.
I'll let this clerk speak to them.
The reason we went back and looked at them is there were quite a few missing, and it's something that we got reprimanded for on the audit. So between the video and the notes that were taken by the interim clerk at the time, I put them together best that we could. And so it becomes the official record of the city because we do need to maintain that. Unfortunately, they were not timely in the time I was not here. So we're doing the best we can to bridge the gap to make sure we're compliant for our audit.
So is that just a hit, or is that something they hit us with a fine or anything like that?
There's no fine.
There's no fine with our annual audit, no.
Good.
Well, we don't want to be written up on that again this year. and we will if we don't get them approved and get them on our website.
And for those, I did put the caveat that they were, created based off notes from the interim clerk at that time to try to differentiate where it came through, when the meetings were versus when those minutes were created.
This has come up once before, 8, 9 years ago, and the question was whether an alderman or a committee member can attest to the accuracy of minutes of a meeting they weren't here. Technically, you can't unless you have witnessed the video or the meeting, and a number of us have witnessed the videos of those meetings, so we could attest to their accuracy,
Okay.
in my opinion, but that's up to Stephanie to decide on.
That's part of your awful job of just having to attest to that,
Yeah.
that's as accurate as can be from that time period.
Okay. I watched all the videos, so I can attest to that at least.
Okay.
And luckily or not, quite a few of them were, there wasn't a quorum, and other than coming to order and adjourning, there wasn't much substance to a handful of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else on the consent agenda? All right, report of officers. Mayor's report. All right. I want to start off by informing the public about a critical decision the Mayville City Council will be making very shortly. Mayville needs an upgrade to our sewer plant facility. The plant was designed back in the 80s and was supposed to last 25 years. We have done a good job maintaining our plant as we approach year number 40. After countless meetings over the past month, here is what information I have obtained and what we need to address. The plant has an overall cost of $31 million, and after receiving grants and putting $1 million in our reserve fund towards the upgrade, we are still looking at a $27 million in borrowing. That is a 100% increase per month in sewer rates, going from 27 to $54 a month on average. This will impact residents, business properties, Kikoski Leroy Sewer District, and future business development. To help burden some of this increase, I have authorized our financial experts to petition the state for 2 sewer rate increases over the next 1 to 3 years, with an increase in 2025. To also help palliate the increase, I am asking the city council to either cancel the new administration building, renovate the building, or delay the building until 2029, and bond out the project with the utility cost savings of the new plant efficiencies. We anticipate a yearly cost savings of $250,000 per year. This would be an increase of 82% sewer rate increase, and if approved by the state, be more manageable in the 1 to 3 year time span. After a minor hiccup in building a new daycare facility at St. John's Church in Mayville, I'm pleased to report that the project is on its way. Mayville needs more daycare facilities, and I am pleased that the project is off the ground and will be completed in 2025. This will fill a need for our community going forward. This month, the city passed the 2025 budget. I am pleased to inform everyone that all paperwork has been submitted to Dodge County and the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. Tax bills have been sent out earlier than expected, as the city staff has been working hard for our residents, sending out this information. Much appreciated. I had the pleasure of doing a Mayville Police Department ride-along to see how our patrol officers interact with the public and what they need to do each and every day to protect and serve our residents. I want to thank Officer Foyt for his knowledge and willingness to answer questions that I have had. I attended the Mayville Lions Club monthly meeting. I addressed some of their concerns and informed them on what is new in the city of Mayville and what's to be expected moving forward. I want to thank Mayville Lions for the invite and the great hospitality. Thank you. Along with many organizations, I did speak with Main Street Mayville this past month on ongoing program and future needs. I am proud of what Main Street has accomplished over the years. I want to thank them for hosting the yearly holiday parade. This is a lot of hard work, along with many great sponsors that made this effort possible. Special thanks to Mellowcraft of Mayville for being the main sponsor and Brenda Brett for sponsoring the Santa Claus float. Christmas is a great time of year for our city, and I want to thank Mayville DPW workers, Mayville Parks Department, Main Street Mayville, Mellowcraft of Mayville, and many other volunteers that took the time to put up decorations and lights around town. I reintroduced the lights to be put back at the Boulevard and Main Street this year, and everything looks good and great, and I'm glad that we have great lights for our residents. And as always, I'll see you around town, and Merry Christmas to all. All right. Next report is administration report.
Good evening. Update on administrative functions of the city. After the budget was adopted in November, followed up with the clerk and worked with Annie on levy limit worksheet we filed, tax increment worksheet was filed. We drafted the taxpayer newsletter that was included with your tax bills and filed the statement of taxes this week. I also attended the community outreach meeting at Crossroads and met with administration there. And they are looking how to be more involved within the community. Met with Julie, Stefan, and Devin at EMS to review the fee schedule for their training center. Met with Main Street Mayville, and they went over their revised focus or forecast of their budget and upcoming program changes that they're looking at doing. Meetings I attended the Plan Commission meeting on November 13th, special Plan Commission meeting on November 25th. Committees of the whole or committee meetings were on November 25th, including personnel of the whole and finance of the whole. Utility Commission meeting I attended on December 3rd. Park Rec and Tag Center was on December 4th. Webinars I attended, or not webinars, but meetings I had on November 14th. I met with St. John's and their architect, Tom Micklejohn, to review the site plan. We're on Dayton Street, and also with Rob Pro and Nick from Kunkel Engineering. On November 20th, I met with Stephen Sell and Greg Gunderson regarding the wastewater treatment plant bids and the site plan review. Also following the Dayton County Circuit Court judge decision in Act 10 legislation. Judge Frost's decision creates uncertainty by leaving intact or unaddressed statutory provisions. I'll also be attending a webinar that's going to be hosted by the league regarding this issue or ongoing issue or concern. There has been Nicole and I will be meeting with local banks and going on what fees and services they can offer the city. We're looking at incorporating all of our accounts and services into one bank or local bank in the area instead of the confusion that's created with dealing with 3 different banks on all of our different issues. This is something else that is needed for our audit to clean that up. I sat in on the 6-month review for Gwen Owens with the wastewater utility director. And also tomorrow we will be completing the 6-month review for Dawn Hunt, who is the deputy clerk with Annie. She has asked me to sit in on that. Coming tasks, in January, I'm hoping to have the cash in lieu for health insurance incentive passed. It finally came through from the attorney. He had reviewed the draft policy that I created, so that should be coming forward in January. So that would be available at that time for any new hires. It wouldn't be available for our current employees until next year when we have open enrollment again. So that is all I have to report on this month.
All right, thank you. Clerk's report.
So this month has largely been focused on tying up 2024 and setting items and procedures up for 2025, such as meeting submission schedules for department heads, so we continue to post and disseminate city meeting information in a timely fashion and maintain those proper records retention. Part of that is, as we've discussed already, you'll see tonight, there are a number of minutes from 2024 that were not previously approved that do need to get handled. I am also working with eScribe on training for the participant access portion of our agenda preparation software. My intent is to have this completed by the end of January, so then I can bring that information forward for you all so you can utilize it if you'd like. My office is also beginning preparations for the 2025 election cycle. February 18th will be the spring primary if it's needed, and the spring election is April 1st. For aldermen in the odd number wards, I'm sure you're sick of me saying this by now. If you are not running, your non-candidacy paperwork is due by December 27th. If you are running, the nomination paperwork is due to my office January 7th by 5 p.m. Please also remember to turn in your campaign finance paperwork once you have decided to run. Just as a reminder for everyone, City Hall will be closed December 24th and 25th. Notification has already been posted at City Hall as well as on the city's Facebook page. We've done this so residents can factor those holiday closures in if they're one of those who like to come pay property taxes in person.
All right, thank you. Treasurer's report, okay, for actually October 2024, monthly checks, register, and approval of the bills. You guys have that in your packet? You guys have any questions?
I did want to say though, one thing, if you're looking at those reports, the expenditures to comparison to budget, starting at page 4, you'll see, the expenses versus where they are at budget. And most of the departments, well, this is an October financial, so they're like 83% of the fiscal year. Most of the departments are doing pretty well, pretty close to their budget, or less, like 70% or less. So they're doing well, but there are 3 that stand out, and those 3 is the controller, City Hall, and our property insurance budget. So with that being said, I just wanted to, just in case, for the controller, that budget is over because I allocated the sale of the library to the expense, but then I also did a revenue to it, so, they cancel each other out. Postage was under budgeted. We also had those contracted services for the sickest payments that we are no longer paying anymore, but that is why that is over budget. City Hall, we hired a cleaning service that was not budgeted for, and we put in new phones that were not budgeted for. That's why that one's higher. And then the property management, due to under budgeting, we still have 2 months yet to make payments, so that one is definitely gonna go over budget. But other than that, the city council is at 72%. Like I said, we're at 83% of the fiscal year, and fire department's at 72%, streets and roads 53%. So as a whole, they're doing pretty well.
Sounds like
What's that?
some of it was missed
Yeah, it was just a miss, but it,
before your time.
Well, the sickage budget in itself for City Hall, in 2023, we had 27,000 in our budget. For 2024, there's 17,000 in the budget. So there were so many budget line items that had 0, whereas they should have had $5,000 to $10,000 in there. We are planning to wait to the end of the year and then bringing a budget amendment for 2024 for them 3 areas.
Okay.
And they were on our radar for a couple months already. We've been watching it.
just wanted to get a quick outline since we're in October and we're getting close to the year end. And
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make the motion to approve the bills. I
All right,
looked them
motion.
over, didn't see anything.
Second.
Motion by Smith, second by Schmidt. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, comptroller treasurer's monthly report, was that your report?
yeah, well, no, I'll make it real quick.
Okay.
Well, just saying that the tax bill was November 27th. We had a pretty steady amount of people came in the following Monday after Thanksgiving. I had my preliminary audit has started November 25th. And with that, I want to definitely look into improving more of our internal controls where we got back last year. So working on that. And then I'm working on with Dawn, our deputy clerk, our year-end payroll and working on next year's new benefits. And I have a payroll year-end training December 19th and gonna jump in on an OSHA 300 law training tomorrow for an hour.
All right, thank you.
I can have that.
Okay, reports of committees, commissions, and boards. Utility Commission, next meeting date's January 7th at 6 PM. Library Board is December 12th at 6 PM. Public Works is January 27th at 6 PM. Personnel Committee, January 27th at 6 PM. Public Safety, January 27th at 6 PM. Finance, January 27th at 6 PM. Parks Rec Tag Center Commission, February 5th at 3:30 PM. Planning Commission, next meeting dates, December 18th at 4 PM. Community Development Authority, next meeting dates, January 22nd at 5 PM. Old business, discuss with possible action, placing the Mabel Care sign in Foster Park. Are you reporting on that, Jake?
Yeah, I was just told that you guys have a couple of questions.
Well, he was gonna get some information back to us about the size of the sign and,
The size is 4 feet long and at max 8 feet high. So I'm assuming it's gonna go like where the information booth used to be,
okay,
just right there.
yeah, I think that's what he said.
So 4 by 8 is what I got, nothing higher than that.
Anybody else got any questions? If not, I guess I'd take a motion to approve the Mabel Care sign in Foster. Do you know how long it's gonna stay there?
I'm gonna assume like when projects are going on, it's not gonna go like vacantly, it's
Alright.
gonna come on off and on.
All right, that's fine. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Olson, second by Levenow. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, approve the minutes of November 25th, 2024, Public Works Committee of the Whole. You guys should have that in your packet. For any addition, corrections?
Yes, I looked them over and there's an error in the minutes that has to be corrected. They have the mayor breaking the tie on the motion to table when in fact the vote that was recorded in there shows a 4-2 vote. So either Alderman Olson or Alderman Olson or Alderman Levenow who recorded it wrong. Because it doesn't show a tie, it shows the vote was, you can read it, it shows Alderman Smith nay. It shows 4 nays and 2 ayes, so there was no tie for the mayor to break. So one of those votes was in error.
I'm not following.
My apologies. Olson would have been the nay.
Olson would have been the nay.
Yes,
Want to make that correction?
I will make that correction.
Okay,
Approve pending
is there any
correction.
other additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve pending the correction.
Motion by Smith. Second by Levenow. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, approve the minutes of November 25th, Personnel Committee of the Whole meeting. Any corrections or additions there? Motion? Motion by Levenow,
Second.
second by Schmidt. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the minutes of November 11th, 2024 Common Council meeting. Any additions or corrections? Motion? Motion by Levenow,
I'll second that.
second by DeBaker. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. October 28th, Finance Committee of the Whole.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Motion by Smith, second by Levenow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the minutes of June 6th, 2024 Special Common Council meeting. Motion? Motion by Levenow,
Second.
second by Newman. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes of April 16th, 2024 Special Common Council meeting. For a motion? Motion by Levino,
I'll second that.
second by DeBaker. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes of April 8th, 2024 Common Council meeting. Is there a motion?
I wasn't here, but I looked at the video and I agree that the minutes were accurate. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Smith,
I'll second that.
second by DeBaker. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of minutes of February 26th, 2024 Special Common Council meeting number 1.
So moved.
Motion by DeBaker, second by Levino. Any discussion?
What is number one? What is that mean?
There were two agendas, there were two meetings back to back.
Okay.
That's what they did in Mount Calvin.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, approve the minutes of February 22nd, 2024, special common council meeting number 2.
I gladly make a motion.
All right, motion by Newman, second by Levino. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approval of minutes of February 15th, special common council meeting number 1.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Newman,
Second.
second by DeBaker. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Approved the minutes of February 15th, 2024, special common council meeting number 2.
I'll make a motion.
Newman,
Second.
second by DeBaker. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approved the minutes of February 12th, 2024, common council meeting.
Make a motion.
Motion by Newman,
Second.
second by DeBaker. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Discuss with possible action the site review of St. John's Evangelical Lutheran Church. Applicant St. John's Evangelical Lutheran Church, parcel 251-1216-2313-103, 520 Bridge Street, 407 Dade Street. All right, is there a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Olson, second by Levino. Any discussion? To get back to your question, Gina, it was reviewed by planning commission, and the property next to you there to the east, that slope is coming down a little bit. There's only gonna be like a 4-foot green space there, and they're gonna drain tile the bottom of that. And they're gonna, all the water's gonna be drained out to the south to where that drain is back there. That's where it's going. So they said, right, so if you have problems, let me know, but they assured us that the way the site plan was and how the elevation is gonna be, is there won't be any flooding coming in your yard like it has been. All right,
Sheena, is it in your basement as well?
What?
Is it in your basement as well?
Yeah.
And how old is that building?
I mean, it leaked, the basement leaked prior, I just noticed an increase.
right.
It seems to be a problem, not just you, so hopefully we can remedy this.
Okay,
And is the site plan approval contingent upon the recommendations of Kunkel? They had outlined 6 different matters, I think, in their letter.
right.
Yeah.
Right, they approved everything that was conditional of the Kunkel oversight review. All right. Anybody else have a discussion? All right, take the roll.
Alderperson Olson,
Aye.
Alderperson Newman,
Aye.
Alderperson Levenow.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderperson Smith,
Aye.
Alderperson DeBaker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, discuss with possible action the operator's license application for Isabel Schwallen. Okay, that's 760 Green Bay Drive, Unit 8, Mayville, Wisconsin.
Chief Tolner is not able to be here tonight, but he did approve all three of these, the backgrounds.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, motion made by Olson, second by Levino. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item 14, discuss with possible action, operator's license application for Melissa Lopez, located at 113 Allen Street, Mayville, Wisconsin. Motion by Schmidt, second by Levino. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, discuss with possible action, operator's license application for Tara Ann Doyle, located at 520 Bridge Street, Mayville, Wisconsin. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Olson, second by Levino. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss with possible action, it's an introduction of ordinance 1143-2024. An ordinance creating 22-16 of the municipal code of the city of Mayville, codifying the community development authority / enhancement committee. Is there someone who wants to introduce that?
I'll introduce it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, item 14R, discuss with possible action, introduction of ordinance 1144-2024, an ordinance to repeal and replace section 22-9A of the municipal code of the city of Mayville.
I'll introduce.
Motion by Schmidt, thank you. Discuss with possible action, resolution 5955-2024, approve appointment to the landfill standing committee. Can you please read?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
All right, I'll let her read the resolution.
Whereas it's the responsibility of the mayor to appoint a representative of the city of Mayville to the landfill standing committee. And whereas Gail Rivers has resigned from their appointment to the landfill standing committee. And whereas it is the mayor's desire to appoint Stephanie Justman, city administrator, as the city of Mayville representative on the landfill standing committee. Now therefore be it resolved that the common council of the city of Mayville does hereby approve the aforementioned appointment to the landfill standing committee.
No, again.
All right, motion by Smith, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 14T, discuss with possible action, resolution 5956-2024, establish the 2025 fee schedule for the city of Mayville. You guys should have that in your packet. Their motion,
I'll make that motion.
motion by Olson.
Second.
Second by Newman. Is there any discussion on the fee schedule? Take the roll on this one, please.
Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Alderperson Liebnow.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt.
Aye.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson DeBaker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, discuss with possible action, resolution 5957-2024, amend the 2025 budget for tax increment district in the city of Mayville. And once we get the motions, we'll have one of you guys talk about it. Your motion,
I'll make the motion.
motion by Smith,
I'll second.
second by DeBaker. You're up.
Okay, with the tax increment districts, this actually reflects the actual increment, which did not come through until we had the tax increment worksheet complete. And so as we adopted the budget before we had the final numbers. So this reflects the actual revenues. And also we included another expenditure that was missed for TID number 6, and that's the incentive payment to Dayton One LLC for the apartments, for the improvement value on the apartment that was there as of January 1 of 2024. So the budgets just reflect actuals now, closer to actuals. I mean, there still might be some moving parts to it.
That's the reason for the amendment.
Yes.
All right, any more discussion? Take the roll on this, please.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson DeBaker.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt.
Aye.
Alderperson Liebnow.
Aye.
Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, discuss with possible action, resolution 5958-2024, resolution confirming meeting pay rate for the city boards, commissions, and committees in chapter 22 of the City of Mayville Municipal Code. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Levino,
I'll second.
second by Olson. Nicole, you want to just give a brief reason why we're approving this?
Well, this came from Annie
That was
and
me.
me.
Yep.
Because I brought to Annie's attention when we adopted the compensation for the aldermen, it didn't include this. So that's why we're putting it in policy that we know this is, nothing has changed here. It's just putting on paper what you're actually getting paid. Because you, at this point, once nomination papers started on December 1st, you cannot change your compensation. And so they were getting the meetings attended together. And so this needs to be written down that you are being compensated for $12 for every meeting attended,
And
in
it-
addition to your,
And additionally, it encumbers that pay rate for the citizen appointees as well.
Right.
We went back, this has been the pay rate since 2010, but we couldn't find any resolution or anything to back it up. So now we have the proper paperwork to do so and a process moving forward if and when anyone would decide to change the pay rate.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Is there any other discussion? All right, take the roll, I guess.
Alderperson Levenow.
Aye.
Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt.
Aye.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson Baker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, discuss with possible action the 2025 schedule of meetings for common council and standing committees up to the annual IFL organization.
Just wanted to put the dates in front of everyone early in the year in case there are any conflicts. The big one I see, it unfortunately, will be after April. We have one that falls very close to Memorial Day, if not on it. So just trying to get those dates solidified ahead of time so we can have them out there on the website and whatnot. And I've been doing that with all the committees and boards. So I don't see anything problematic from now until April, but I did give you the entirety of the year because we'll probably want to readdress it after election. So there's really no necessary action.
Just information.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, item 14X, discuss with possible action, performance-based pay scale policy for water and wastewater operation position. Please read. You got a resolution on it?
No, it's not a resolution. It's the policy that was created by Director Stager that came up through, was it finance or personnel? Yep.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by DeBaker, second by Schmidt. All right, any discussion? Seeing none? Take the roll.
Alderperson DeBaker.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt.
Aye.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson Levenow.
Aye.
Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Item 14Y, discuss with possible action recommendation of the annual vacation leave on verification as per the City of Mayville Employee Handbook, Section 6.3. Is there a motion? Motion by Levino,
I'll second.
second by Olson. Any discussion? Nothing's changed since the last meeting?
No.
Okay, take the roll.
Alderperson Levenow.
Aye.
Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt.
Aye.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson DeBaker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, item 14Z, approve office service manager job description for the PAG Center. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Smith,
Second.
second by Olson. All right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 14AA, discuss the possible action extending Forest Drive for potential residential housing. Is a motion second, and I'll talk about it.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Olson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Smith. So the CDA looked at potential sites that we could do residential expansion or housing expansion. And they talked that Forest Drive it ends, and then the land goes out towards Dunn Road, there's 15 acres there. So we, at one time, we did apply for a grant through the county for potential development. And previous mayor withdrew the application. So the county has a new program that they're kind of doing the same thing. So if we're interested, this would give the administrator authorization to apply for the grant. And then typically it's a 50-50 grant. But we're still working on some of the fine details with Kunkel. They gave us some preliminary numbers, but they're trying to shore up what it's going to cost.
I have a question, it's in my ward.
Yeah.
And at one time, that proposal was to put Forest Drive all the way through to Dunn Road, but there's a hill there and some utilities. And that's one question. Have you discussed that at all? The other one is, if this is there's a property owner to the east, if ordinarily when we expand and build a road and expand utilities, the property owner or the developer absorbs the cost of those things. Are we going to address that?
Yeah, we'll have to, you know, we'll wait to get some numbers from Kunkel, right?
Mhm.
Because it looks like to me that the incentive would be to sell the lots for 20,000 a piece. That's the incentive. And that would be a cost savings of like 20,000 to the developer. Because it's so costly to put in the improvements to the water, sewer, storm, the road, the curb. So yeah,
Is it, the city doesn't own the property. Does the city still have access to the property between there to the west towards the soccer field or no?
well, the soccer field's owned by the city.
Oh, it is. All
To the
of it?
north, to the north.
To the
The
north.
south is owned by a private
Yeah,
association.
okay. So this is a work in progress. We're just
Right.
trying to find a grant for possible.
Right,
expansion.
well, we could table this, because we have time. We could table this to get better numbers from Kunkel, try to hash it out, what it's gonna cost. It's probably gonna, 50-50, I'm thinking probably $750,000 would be our half.
How many lots do you think?
We estimate somewhere between 20 and 24.
20 to 24 lots.
And Kunkel will decide whether it's economical to go up the hill to Dunn Road or to just end it as a.
Well, they already have the road drawn in to Dunn
I
Road.
understand they did before.
There is a bend.
Yeah.
When you get towards the Dunn Road.
Then they're gonna turn, they were gonna turn and join the service road, but that are they still working on the
No,
solution to that?
that owner hasn't approached us about selling or giving it or donating.
I'm happy with either way, as long as we discuss all these things.
Right. I mean, we're running out of opportunities to increase residential.
Right. I just don't wanna see the city on the hook for expanding the total cost of expanding roads and services to
Right.
benefit.
Right, and that's why the county, you know,
Right.
most of you guys know I'm on the county board, and I did, and I was the vice chair. So this all got brought up when I was vice chair about how does the county grow, the county? And part of it was infrastructure, because everybody needs infrastructure, and it's too expensive to make that investment for infrastructure. So part of it is the county is primary beneficiary on taxes, just like the city is. So they're gonna put some skin in the game. They donated, not donated. They took $2 million of sales tax. Everybody that pays for goods and services at the county pays 0.5% sales tax. And it goes into this fund. And right now, they're collecting somewhere between $8 and $9 million. And so they decided to take $2 million of that dollars and dedicate it for grant money for infrastructure needs. And that's where this comes into play. So it's gonna be a competitive process with neighboring communities and counties.
And there is no TID
No,
proposed for this, okay.
we looked at a TIF district or TID district for, there's not a, because TIDs, you just can't create a TID. It has to be in relationship to manufacturing industry. We don't have any manufacturing industry in that side of town. And there's not a good way to go about connecting properties to industry in that side of town. So it just isn't gonna work.
Okay. Well, you've answered my questions. I don't,
So I guess I would table it the next month to get more info. Because he is working on it as we speak.
All right, I'll make a motion to table until next month.
Okay, motion by Olson,
I'll second it.
second by Smith. All right, all those in favor of tabling the next month, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Discuss with possible action extending, all right. Discuss with possible action zoning to allow for 4-story buildings. So that was another thing that CDA talked about, because we're landlocked, we can't grow outward. We're thinking about we need to grow upward. A lot of communities, when they're landlocked, they are looking at 4-story buildings. But they would have to be at certain locations of the city. And a lot of that is dependent on zoning. So that would be something, if the council passes this, I would make the motion to pass it, to pass along to planning and zoning for the review of where 4-story buildings would go.
So why 4? Are you capping it at 4 or could it be 3?
So you could put it up to 4 or up to 5, whatever.
Well, that's, part of my question would be, is our fire truck able to get 4 stories?
Yes,
Yes. Is it able to get 5?
yes.
So that's.
It's a 100-foot ladder truck, we can go up to 100 feet.
If we have the ladder truck here.
Well, we're supposed to get that next quarter, these days.
And number 2, my second question would be, also, some of it's in my ward, but are you talking about on the hill there to the west of the golf course? Is that one of your areas of,
No,
no?
I think if you're gonna do it, probably have to be more downtown, along the river frontage. Maybe possibility out by the Thomas Farm at some point. That's part of the TIF
Yeah.
district.
I'm gonna make that motion.
I'll second.
To pass along to planning and zoning.
Yes.
All right, motion by Olson, second by Newman to approve up to 4 stories. Is that your motion?
Correct.
All right, and pass along to planning and zoning. Is there any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? You want to put that on that planning and zoning?
Will do.
All right, discuss, okay, now we'll talk about the discuss with possible action water wastewater treatment plant upgrade. So Steve, go ahead.
I'm Greg, actually.
Well, Greg,
Steve, that's Steve.
sorry about that.
No, you're all right. We were here back in September to kind of give a comprehensive update to the council on the kind of the scope of the project, what was in it, kind of background. So I didn't intend to rehash all of that, but I wanted to give an update since that time bids have been taken. And I also wanted to talk about the administrative billing, because that's obviously an issue of concern for the council. Should have brought my clicker. So with the bidders also look, just have briefly on the proposed site plan, the administration buildings, a little bit on the funding and the user rates. Obviously Ellers is working on that, but just we got like a general estimate. The mayor had kind of given you that early as well. And then kind of the decisions you guys, some of the alternatives you guys for action moving forward here. So back in November, you guys took a bid on the treatment plant facility. So you guys get the 3 bids. CD Smith of about 26.3 million, Jay's Hassinger 27.65, and then Myron at 28.8. In my opinion, with experience, those are some pretty good bids. I think we bid at the right time of year. Contractors are looking to fill their work for the following year and years, and they like to do that in the fall. And so before the bid, our estimate was about 26 to 27 million, so I think we got a pretty good number there. I think the bids were all within 10%, so that means they all understood the project well, and the plan and specs were clear. So I think that's some good clarity there. And then the schedule generally on the project is to start in the spring. The bids are awarded, and that will go through 2027. So it's about a 3-year process to do that, the size of this project there. So that's a summary of the bids and where we sit right now. That's all inclusive of all the work that was in the plans. So here's just the existing site, just so you can kind of so when I click back and forth, you can kind of see some of the differences here. So I'll just show you kind of the proposed there. So Up on top of the hill, that's where the new sludge storage tanks are going, which we talked about before. And then the pink building on the left, that's would be the proposed new administration building there. And a couple things on the location of that there. Obviously, the blue kind of U shape there, that's the floodplain. So we obviously had to be outside of the floodplain. And I believe Kunkel did review the site plan and did provide conditional review and approval on that. That's the one before the planning commission next week, I believe. And then there's also the dash line at the bottom is the wetlands. I know there are some questions about where those things are. We also have stormwater plan for the site, which is required per DNR code. There will be an NOI permit that will be required for that before construction would begin. So that's the general just kind of layout and the administrative building, the placement where it was placed was for a couple reasons. First, for staging. If we were going to build this new building, we couldn't build it on top of where the other building was. It's still needed in the interim. So that's partly why. Another reason why it was placed where it was is security reasons. Right now, where the building is, it requires the public to come up through the facility and enter the facility site, which has kind of been identified by staff, and I would tend to agree as well, to have the public have access to the facility is not the safest thing in the world. So the place where it is now allows the public to get to the building on the outside, on the south side there. I got a pointer here, over here, and not actually enter the physical site of the facility where the equipment and the tanks and the open tanks are. So that's where it was placed where it was. So a little bit of the layout of that building. So it's a 9,500 square foot building, and it's not all administrative building, right? Half of it is actually a garage. There was identified as a need by the staff, and when we discussed with them that the amount of space for storage and maintenance is low at the site, and I would agree with that. There's a lot of musical chairs that has to happen for the staff to move stuff out to be able to do maintenance and everything. So it was identified, and it has some dual purpose as well for the water department to have a garage on the site. So half the building is actually a garage for vehicles and some storage of materials as well. It's a steel panel building, steel frame building. I have a rendering of that here in a bit, so you can see a little bit. The garage has as I said, the storage and maintenance. Another important part of this building that was incorporated is the electric room. There's a new need for electrical space, the main switch gear, motor control centers, automatic transfer switch for the generators, all in this building. So that room is going to be necessary moving forward. You need that more space, so that was incorporated into here. Another thing that was incorporated here that was identified the needs is new locker and shower areas. Where that stuff is now in their lunchroom is actually in a process building in where there's open wastewater. It's really not a safe and good area for that to be. And so that was also incorporated in this building. Otherwise, there is a new lab and some offices and meeting rooms as well in this building to replace what was in the other building. As far as costs go, so we talked to the contractor and they broke out some costs. The cost for this building in total is approximately about $3.5 million in this project, which works out to be about $368 a square foot. Typically, when we estimate new buildings like this, we typically go up 400 or 450. So in my opinion, I think the price on this is reasonable for that building. And there was a question about what the cost is for demolishing the existing building. And that's about $140,000 to demolish that. There was testing done that for asbestos and those kind of things. And so we have those reports and we know there's actually very minimal in that building based on the report.
Very minimal asbestos.
In that building based on the testing we did. Correct, yes, correct. There is an allowance in the bid for that, but we don't expect it to be much. If there's a few more $1,000 on top of that 140, if they find some more asbestos, but we're pretty confident there's a low amount of asbestos in that building.
What year was that?
The existing administrative building was in the 1980s project. That was constructed. So that's the 40 building.
So in the 80s, I thought the asbestos stuff was pretty much addressed. So I don't know why you find it now at all.
There was a minimum amount, I think, of the pipe insulation, right, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, even a building built nowadays, you can still find asbestos in some materials, and you don't really origin on the material that they were putting into it. But it was mostly under pipe insulation.
Very minimal.
Okay, so in your opinion, how bad or how good, should I put it that way, is the current administrative building right now?
So if it would need remodel if you were to reuse it. It's a 40-year-old building. It would need to be remodeled. One example of that is it gets boiler heat from the main service building. It's really inefficient the way that that building is heated. This new building would get forced air heat in it. So that would be something that would need to be done. And then there's leaks in the building from the back of that building where there used to be the hill back there where it used to be insulated. That leaks through. I believe Courtney has seen floor tiles that pop off and stuff. The water is infiltrating into that building from the backside. So I think that's generally where that, it's a 40-year-old building. I think that's the point kind of there. It would need some remodel. I know there was a lot of the needs in the lab, in the offices. A lot of the space there is just real inefficient for the way they operate it now. And that's kind of why it was identified and moved forward with the building we're looking at.
Is it the norm to have locker rooms and showers in administrative buildings?
For sewer it is,
For sewer,
Okay.
in case you get contaminants.
And then how many were you looking at?
you know offhand, Steve, how many? I think we got a men's and a women's locker room in there.
Yeah. Just one bathroom, one shower for each.
Okay.
For each gender.
Alright.
So then, this is just a rendering of the building. Don't get married to the black color. It's just the color that's on it. The color has not been selected or anything like that. But it's just it's a steel-sided building with I'll say like a veneer around it. So the entrance on the south side here. A lot of what's shown on the bottom here, that's actually the foundation. You can just see below there. So the ground level is actually at the base of this here. So this just gives you an idea what it looks like. It's a steel-sided building. I would say it's not anything overly extravagant. It's not a masonry building. We wanted to be economical with it. That was kind of some of the directions to be economical as we could with it. And so that's what that building is. That's generally what the building is there. So I want to talk about costs a little bit then. So the mayor touched on this a little bit, and I think the mayor had quoted $27 current rates. We have 29. Some of that's just in the nuance, how much usage you assume. So it's right. That's the average user pays around that number. So the way the project is proposed to be funded is through a 20-year fixed loan through the DNR Clean Water Fund program at a subsidized rate that you would lock in for the term at 2.365. So it takes the market rate, they subsidize that down as well. You're also eligible for up to $3.1 million of principal forgiveness or grant for the project. We actually expect to find that out exactly what grant you will be getting by the end of this week or sometime early next week. So we'll be able to update that going forward. But the village's application had a pretty high score on it. So I would expect that you would see that 3.1 million.
It's just to let you know, it's 27 years.
27
Years that we're gonna be borrowing.
Okay, so yes, you can do longer than 20. Yeah, that's a really good point. 20 is kind of the minimum. You can do it for longer, so you can change the terms. Thank you on that. And this once again, these are all things that Ellers is working through with you guys. We work kind of exclusively on the funding application administration side, but actually the rates and the bonding, that's what Ellers kind of works through. So thank you, appreciate that. So current rates is this. If you don't get PF, it moves up to approximate. And once again, I just assumed construction was going to be financed. So Mr. Mayor, you had said 27 million before. I'm just showing construction here. So there's a little bit of.
Yeah, for every $1 million of borrowing, it's about $1 increase per month.
Right, yeah, that's a good metric there. So one of the metrics that the state likes to use is this MHI. So the median household income, every community has a median household income. They like to look at what percentage of sewer rates you're paying towards, percentage of your MHI you're paying towards sewer rates. And a lot of typically they look at affordability as max affordability is like 2%. Obviously that's relative to everyone. What everyone thinks is affordable is different, but what the metric they use is 2%. So with the upgrade, and comparably, you're only about 1.06 or 1.16 comparably as a percent of MHI. So once again, those rates would be finalized when the project costs are kind of finalized there and how much you're going to finance. So one thing I do is MSA does a user charge survey every 3 years. So this data in here is all based. We solicit data from municipalities. Not all municipalities respond, but we solicit data on user rates because people want to know what they're paying. Is that reasonable? So one way that they're typically grouped is by size, because the biggest communities actually typically pay the lowest rates because there's an economy of scale. And so you try to compare based on similar sized communities. So what we did here is 2 breakdowns, since Mayville right around 5,000. We have a breakdown from our report of 5 to 10, and then there's another one here of 2 to 5. I'll show you here. So right now, Mayville's kind of right there in the middle at about what we're showing there for the rates. And based on the upgrade, you would go towards the higher end of that for that size communities for the ones that responded to our survey. So, and that's not totally, it's not really that uncommon. If you haven't done an upgrade in a long time, you're gonna move from the bottom towards the top, and then you're gonna cycle down as others do upgrades as well. So as a comparison for the 2 to 5,000, you guys are towards the bottom in that comparison of communities, and you move kind of to the upper third with this upgrade. So just a comparison where you are. Then we also did a comparison of ones in the area. So some of this is data based on our survey, but some of this is we've updated it based on the rate sheets of those communities themselves. And these are all, what we did is we took their rate sheets and we used the same amount of usage that residents in Mayville used to try to make it as apples to apples as we could. And so you can kind of see where people's rates are for their communities based on, a lot of this is based on when they recently did an upgrade. Alex is sitting over, he can tell you Juneau is in the middle of completing their upgrade and they're up towards the top. Horicon is about ready to embark on a very large upgrade as well. And so they're at the bottom, they're gonna move down to here. You can see where Thresa is and Campbellsport and other communities as well. And in this scenario, Mayville's kind of, even with the upgrade, is kind of right in the middle of area communities. Kind of for, just for reference there. And you kind of see when communities have done or may are planning to do upgrades. And I think this kind of speaks towards, if you haven't done an upgrade for a long time, your rates are going to be pretty low compared to others. But as soon as you do a major upgrade, you kind of cycle to the top. And that's kind of the way that usually works. So what I want to do then is there's kind of, I think, 4 actions the council could take. You could award the project as bid. When you finalize the rates and we begin construction, we kind of move ahead. You can reject the bids and bid at a later date. I know that was partly discussed. Maybe take advantage of some lower interest rates. One of the ramifications that could happen to that is any time you cancel a bid and you want to rebid it, the bid numbers are out there. And so my concern, one thing I always look at from a planning standpoint, is what was the second low bid? That's probably the low bid that you're going to get unless you substantially change the project. So if we're just talking about delaying the bid and rebidding it as is, it's going to probably offset any advantage you might see, I believe, in my opinion, in my experience. Option 3, this would basically be the option of some significant modification, like eliminating the administrative building. So some of the potential ramifications of that is there will be more design effort. We'd have to reject the bids and modify the plans. As I discussed, we do need the electrical building at minimum, so we would need to do some redesign there to do an electrical building. So you need that. There's still the outstanding question of the garage. Would the garage still want to be added, even if you didn't have the rest of the administrative building? That would need to be considered. And you still have the outstanding liability of the 40-year-old building and the remodel costs that are there. And then once again, I would be concerned about some of the increases from rebid because the numbers are out there that you might see. So obviously these are your decisions, but there's some of the potential ramifications of doing that from my perspective. And then obviously the last step is you reject it, you don't do anything. I certainly would not recommend that, but it's obviously an option you could take. So I guess with that, that's what I wanted to present tonight. I can answer any questions.
What have we invested so far?
Mostly invested time in MSA in our design, which is about 1.7 million.
Have we paid you 1.7 million? Right?
Not all of it, but
How much have we paid you?
how much? Do you know how much we paid?
Probably 80% of that.
80% of what?
The 1.7.
1.7. My question is, it's usually a process, and I guess I don't know why I didn't go through the process. You've been doing this for quite a few years, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you should know that there's a process that you go through before engaging. So why did that happen?
I think you're referring to, coming to the council for some of these. This was a discussion that we've had. It was the direction from the people that we work with at the commission and staff, that the commission was the body, that was the controlling body for these decisions. We were not made aware until recently that the council wanted to have some say in these things. We're happy to be here and present and gain your approval. That's what the city wants to happen. But it's my experience with other communities that the commission is the body for, for instance, in this example, water and wastewater.
Well, maybe I'm misunderstanding something here. So it's just the commission? You don't have to go through planning, you don't have to go through council?
Not every community is known as that way. No.
I think what she's getting at is that the city council in the city of Maple is the governing body for the commission.
Yeah, it's part of our work. I was on the water commission when you presented this initially, and I was, that was in early 2023. And at the time, most of these things were discussed, but the one thing that was high in my concern here was, the idea was sold on the age of the facility and the fact that we were spending an unusual amount of money hauling sludge, which is common in aged plants. And our plant, it was a tremendous amount of money, and the storage was another problem. And part of the design was going to, in your words, was going to allow us to dehydrate the sludge. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Dehydrate the sludge to the point where it would be much less cost in storage and in hauling. And in fact, you said it would be a version of cake. Cake is dried out completely, and dehydrated, modified cake would be something you could keep on site. And the time, I remember the estimates were given that this could save us a substantial amount of money towards the construction of this plant and the efficiency of it. What happened with that?
Yeah, that we did look at cake, but that was not proceeded with. We presented several options between drying and making cake and simply just thickening the liquid. And thickening the liquid was the most cost-effective option for me. The payback to make cake was not there for the size of community that you are.
Yeah, go up to the podium so that was.
Okay, the sludge reduction that we looked at, and I know you're talking about, the cake was one option that was presented. You pretty much have man hours that you're adding into making cake, you have operational costs that go into it. Right now, what we do is we haul out sludge 8 times a week. That is not normal in any situation anywhere. By allowing proper storage, we have time to decant and get that liquid off the top, so our sludge volume is lessened, along with the ability to add polymers and things to get that volume even less. So the calculations I did on the savings for sludge hauling, when we don't have the ability to get that water off the top, you can look at maybe a 10% reduction. You can probably look up to a 50% reduction in sludge volume, which on our cost, talking to our waste hauler, brings our hauling cost down about 4 cents a gallon. So on our sludge hauling right now, as the volume sits, we'd be saving $6,000 to $14,000 a month, depending on what that reduction comes up to. How thick we can get it and how much water.
All right, that's where they think the cost savings is gonna come into that $250,000 is between the amount of hauling that we are gonna be doing and the amount of chemicals we don't have to use is gonna come out to some savings.
But it is not as optimistic as it was when we first discussed this back in 2023. Apparently you've decided that there isn't that much cost savings in the sludge storage and
Yeah, I can bring back that information. I just think you remember we had shown some payback curves, and the payback just wasn't there for making cake for the
This
amount of
one's been
sludge we
addressed
create.
after I left the commission, but that was a one point. Anyway. And I think what Kim was talking about was, you're still waiting for some approvals from the planning commission, so I don't even know if this has been addressed by them yet. And some numbers from Ehlers, is that right, Mayor?
We're gonna be reviewing the site plan this next week, for approval. Ehlers is getting us some final numbers. They're 90% where we think they're gonna fall. I mean, and one of the questions I had is when we did the bid process, did we have some of the segment out, like was the administration building segment out on the total bid, or
What was the lump sum?
was it just lump sum?
There was lump sum. We segmented out that access road.
Okay. Well, then the other question I have is that originally we thought it was gonna be $5 million for the new administration building. How did we get it down to 3.5?
Well, I think we tried to estimate it conservatively at that point, not knowing exactly what we were designing and not make it, I mean, I always want to be conservative at that point to not promise anything that's going to be cheaper than it actually turns out to be. So I think and like I said, we wanted to make sure it was a steel building instead of a masonry building, which is more expensive. So we tried to make it more cost effective as we could, I guess is what I'll say.
Right, and and I heard something last week, their Waterloo, I guess, is putting up a new plant. Do you know anything about their situation now?
No, I don't work with Waterloo, unfortunately, no.
I heard they're having some cost problems where they're way over on their sewer plant.
I haven't heard that, no.
Okay, anybody else got questions?
What are your thoughts about putting off the administration building?
Well, like I said, that's totally your decision. I just want to, that's all your decision. As far as like how the plant itself operates, it doesn't affect how the actual plant operates itself. That is more of a staff consideration. But what I will say is that we will need that electrical. We'd have to build something. It could be significantly smaller, but we need some kind of electrical space we need to build for the new gear there. So we have to build some kind of a building at least. And then the questions come in about, do you still want a garage, or what about, the locker room part of it? Because part of what we're doing is, like I said, that the locker room and stuff is in a process building. And so we're actually going to use that space for blowers for the process. And so if we take that out of there, there's not going to be locker rooms anymore. So that would be a consideration too. How would we want to address that? So that'd be some, if the decision of the council was to eliminate the admin building, there would need to be some modifications and kind of direction on what you do want. So we would know what you need to rebid. So that's kind of the decision that would need to be made secondary to, okay, we don't want the admin building. Do we want the garage, or how we want to handle the locker room, or what do we want to do about the electrical room? Probably the three things to kind of think about.
Are there locker rooms now?
Yep, they're in pretty bad shape, and they're kind of in a wastewater area, and that's with their lunchroom. And we're going to be reusing that space as more wastewater area because we need it. And so if we kind of do like a kind of a cascading decision, okay, we don't do the admin building, you don't have the locker rooms, where will the locker rooms go? Because we are going to be kind of demolishing those for process needs of the plant needs. So, and I don't know if there's anything in the existing admin building as far as the locker room is, if they're usable or not.
But still, is there a garage area now?
In the existing plan? Yes, there is. Yeah.
And how many vehicles are there?
Probably a question for you, huh?
Yeah, we got problems here because what happened is that over the course of time, salt has eaten away the floor, and the rebar is sticking out. So there's kind of there could be a structural issue at some point. So the plan is to basically resurface off that whole area. Don't park any vehicles up there anymore because that's what caused the deterioration of the floor anyways. And that's why they're thinking about adding on some kind of a garage so we don't have that problem, because if that rebar goes at some point, then you might as well just cash in the whole building because it's all going to collapse. Right, Greg?
Yeah, that service building, the big service building, that wasn't originally designed to be a garage. There was actually process tanks and stuff in that lower part, but that all got removed, and now that's where they park all the vehicles now. So if they want to do any maintenance, all this stuff has got to come out, and then it's like I said, kind of musical chairs, kind of moving that around, and you can't really park anything up above either, like the mayor's talking about. So that's where it's kind of. And then the water department kind of spoke up, yeah, we have all these things that need to be stored. They're kind of stored all over. So that's where the idea of the garage came from, to have more storage for the vehicle, so they have a proper maintenance space, so they can maintain the equipment, fix the equipment. And then there's some storage for some other materials there. So that's kind of what half that building really is that garage.
I've only gone as far as when Katie was there, so it's been a long time.
Right.
I never really looked at whole buildings, so that's why I'm asking why.
No, I appreciate that.
Anybody else?
If they forego on the administration building at this time, they still are going to have to remodel what they currently have or have to think about building a new administration.
In the future,
down the
yeah, I mean,
line.
that, the liability
Because-
is still there, it has to be
Because the
addressed.
lab in the current one is not, it should really be, it has to be updated or remodeled. It's seen its useful life. So something would have to be done. If you forego it now, you're gonna have to encounter the costs either in the
Yes,
next couple of years
Right, but the
or.
problem is that now we're gonna be bonding out on revenue bonds, putting it on the rates, or if we start generating extra cost savings, then we bond out the money and use the cost savings to pay off principal and interest. We're probably gonna pay a little bit more interest rate if we bond it out, because we're not gonna get the
At a later time.
we're not gonna get the 2.35.
So Mayor, in your opinion, you seem to be kind of more hands-on than you were before. Your opinion, is this thing ready for prime time, or should we get more information from the planning commission and Ehlers?
Well, I'd like to see the rates that Ayler's coming at next week. That would help a lot. I mean, we've been on calls with Ayler's the last couple of weeks on numbers, and of course, it doesn't help the lady's leaving on long-term leave, so we're dealing with another guy. But, it seems like, he knows what he's doing. He's been around a while. But the numbers, we gotta get the numbers kind of shored up a little bit. Like I said, every $1 million we're gonna, borrow, or, revenue bonds, it's $1 increase per month per resident. Right now, this whole project, if we, as is, probably we're looking at about $8,100 per resident. And that includes all of Kikowski, Leroy, and businesses and everything else. If we could save some money, right, save $3-4 million bucks, you're driving that cost down to $6,000. I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, everyone agrees, it's a lot of money. It's not the best economic times either, so, but, we need a plan. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I've been through there a couple times now, and, we've been listening to the Sewer Water Commission about the plant. It needs updates. I'm all for it. Administration building, could potentially delay it a couple of years and then bond it out, or we could just go ahead and do the whole thing now. But I agree with Greg. I mean, I bid out stuff for a living. Once these people find out what the bids are, you're right, they're probably gonna be at that second bid rate.
Was that process proper, the way it was handled, putting it out for bids before the council had a?
Well, I would think before it was out for bid, the council should add some more input on what we wanted. That would have probably helped.
And our representative on the Utilities Commission, Alderman Newman, you voted against this project. Are your objections answered now?
Well, I'm always the bad guy with the wastewater.
No, you're not the bad guy. You're the bad guy.
I'm looking at my pocket, I'm looking at constituents' pockets, I'm looking at the city of Mayville's pocket. I'm not against the wastewater plant whatsoever. I'm not against clean water. I'm not against the new treatment plant. I'm not against the new administration building. It's all needed. What I don't like is the process, what happened there. Just, kind of a little stinky, nothing against SA at all. You're awarded design. We're $1.7 million into a project that the council didn't even have anything to say. Understood where all the misunderstanding was and where we're at today, but here's where we're at today. So
Right.
we gotta make a decision. I don't have to like the process. It just wasn't, someone might have had some hurt feelings maybe down the line or anything, but here's where we are today. We're looking at a wastewater plant. We need to do it. You make it, you make a decision, but just how it was handled.
We
The
spent,
taxation without representation is the biggest thing.
Yeah, there's one more issue aside from all that, and that is the awarding of the inspection services. A lot of our infrastructure with sewer and water is because we didn't pay attention too much to the early inspection services, and a lot of our sewer was laid on non-compacted base. As you know what happens then, the pipes shrink and fall out of the manholes, and that causes leaks, and then you have to have everything cameraed. So I want to know how much thought was given to the process of choosing to let you guys handle the inspection.
But we haven't been hired for that yet.
We
So
can-
first of all,
we can bid that out as well.
We can,
Get
because
the
I have
council
the problems we have right now, we're facing right now, especially in my ward over on the new sewer area. A lot of it is because the pipes are 17 feet down, they weren't compacted properly, and half of the stuff has to be dug down and replaced because it wasn't, nobody looked in the ditch, essentially, to see if they were compacting it and
you know,
building it right.
that wasn't anything we were involved in.
No, this is common practice, common problems with old infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then when houses are using plastic pipes, the water pipes, if they backfill with boulders and heavy rock and everything, then they develop cracks and those things fail, and then you got water breaks. All of those things mean that we got to give special attention to our awarding the contract for inspection and liability.
I mean, I guess one answer to that is also, our specs certainly don't call for just any material to get backfilled down a hole.
Right.
And that's, specs are pretty clear with backfill and compaction and all those things got to be for pipes and structures and tanks. And there's a lot of geotechnical work done about what kind of excavation has to happen and compaction and all those kind of
I have
things.
no doubt you designed it right. My concern is for somebody inspecting to see if it's
Right.
actually completed properly.
And how does that usually go? You don't inspect your own work, do you?
That's actually very common, as the design engineer is the one who inspects the construction because typically they know best what's been designed and know what to look for. Because each consultant, each engineer has their own spec book, how they spec things. And so very commonly, the engineer that designs it is the one that is on site to inspect, to make sure the contractor is doing it per what has been bid, so you're getting what you paid for, right? So that's the common typical practice.
Usually they don't take the lowest
Typically,
bid.
they
for
come in
inspection.
more because they already know the design that they've drawn. So typically, when you take out RFP, just like the roads, we have someone do the roads and then we contract with inspection services, and typically the same engineering company comes in more.
Is that effective?
Is it what?
Is it effective
As far as what?
for a company do their own inspecting?
Well, usually it's not the guy, typically the guy that designs, I don't know how you guys do it, the guy that designs the plant, right? He's not the actual guy that's out there doing the inspection service. It's somebody different. Like you said, they have a book, right? And that's all the guy does, is inspection stuff, I'm sure. So that's all he does inspection, and he's got a book and he goes through it, make sure it's to their standard and up to code. So, yeah, so Ayers is waiting for the DNR or the state to come back with the numbers. So if we want to table this, we could table it, but then we're gonna have to meet next week to,
Well, can we have a special meeting,
yeah.
just to wait on Aylers so we can move forward?
I will say, you took the bids on November 19th, you have 60 days.
Yeah, we
So
got 60 days to get it
I think
done.
what we had talked about before is you could even wait till the regular council meeting in January. Once you from the plan commission, once you know on the rates, and you could still make a decision to accept the bid.
Do we have, what was the days?
I would rather get this done before Christmas. I think everybody would.
I'm okay with that.
So,
We'll set up a GoFundMe page and
well, I just want to make sure all your guys' questions are answered while they're here. So, anybody else got any questions? what do you want to do with this then? You want to wait till we get the answers from mailers? Or?
That's what I thought you did.
What would be the beneficiary of that?
What's that?
What would be the benefit of
Wait,
waiting for Ayers?
well, they're estimating 3.1 million for debt forgiveness. That might be 3.2, or it might be 1.5. So that's what we're waiting for. We believe we're gonna get 1.5 for sure. The rest of it's up in the air. We're guessing that we're gonna get it. It's not definite. If we waited, we definitely know where we're at, numbers wise. And that's nothing that why we want to move on the project as well, because typically your debt forgiveness is only 600 grand, 700 grand, right? So this is because of the infrastructure bill that was passed. And that's why we're getting more debt forgiveness.
Just wanted to get it out there.
Okay, so
I'll make a motion to table this until Ayers comes up with their numbers and what's allowed and what they think, and if need be, we'll call a special meeting.
all right, motion by Olson. The table, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, motion made and second. Any more discussion?
Is waiting gonna benefit us? I mean, really benefit us, or are we just kicking the can?
We're gonna get the numbers that we
Yeah,
need.
but
I'm not kicking the can.
the thing is, we need it, right?
Yep,
And we need it bad, right?
but we need the sewer plant bad.
Yeah. And if we don't do it, prices are just gonna keep going up. I've never seen them go down.
Well, we're locking in. We're already locked in until 60 days, so January. We're gonna have a meeting next week, Mike.
That's fine then. If you know, if you wanna put it off until then, that's fine, but if it's gonna start costing us, then I just can't see it.
We're locked in rates until January.
All right.
As far as Mike's question and Ken's, even if Ayers comes in, does it really, all it really affects is the possibility of delaying the administrative building or whatever. Is it worth that? I don't know. I have no idea. I just wish the process would have been adhered to coming in. Council should have been involved more from the beginning.
All right, any more discussion? All those at table till sometime next week, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, discuss with possible action EMS training center fee schedule. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Smith, second by Newman. Any discussion? No changes? Annie, no changes?
Nope.
All right. All in favor of the fee schedule, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss with possible action adoption of the TAG Center membership subsidy policy. For motion,
I'll make that motion.
motion by Olson, is there a second? Second by Liebenall. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. By order of the chair, we're adjourned at 8:29. Thank you. Have a good night.
Grab one of your 3 computers.
All right.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah.